you feel, as long as it's not going to kill you, it's going to make you stronger.
Purchase your tracks today.
All right. Now, today's vlog is a very interesting vlog because I was doing some research about solar companies out there, who's doing what. And solar software in the solar business is growing tremendously, like any SaaS. And I came across this company, AuroraSolarTech.com. Very interesting company. It's a B2B company, and they provide AI powered software to basically help people, better install or implement panel in different type of infrastructure, homes, businesses. I'm assuming, that's one of the explanation of services. You can get more information. So the AI basically do the exact measurement, best way, I guess, best way to put those panels based on where the sun will come in, where the placement of the house, and from sunrise down. From what I've read, that's pretty much what they're bringing intelligence into that aspect. Instead of just putting panel everywhere, you have a better way now to structure that, which is very interesting. I'm sure there's a need for company that install solar panel to be more efficient in that space. So I was reading and I came across, so I wanted to know who the founder is. And it's actually two founders, Samuel Adeyemo and Christopher Hooper. And they met, they did the MBA at Stanford University. So that's really a common thread I see all the time. Companies that are unicorn status, um, a lot of them, the founders and co-founders, come from Ivy League school. I mean, the reality is, you the closer you are to the money, I won't say easier because it's never easy, but you have less of a friction to access that capital. And going to Ivy League school definitely minimize that friction. I can't tell you how many startups that have unicorn status or company as a whole that have unicorn status have an Ivy League background. And not just unicorn companies and founders that raise 1 million plus. And I've talked about that in another vlog. That's not the key of the vlog, but hey, congrats to those guys. They have unicorn status. They actually operate also in Kenya. So they're trying to penetrate the African market. And it's very interesting. But the most interesting part about this is what I was looking at is their revenue and their valuation and how much they raised so far. So it's estimated their revenue is around between 10 to, I've seen other website, they show like 13 mil. The Google says their revenue is 10 mil, I'm assuming a year. But that's the crazy part, man. A $2.1 billion valuation. That's a multiple to an amazing extent. Now, for those who don't know valuation is just an agreement between you and the investor. There is no exact formula to that. People always say, how they come up with this type of valuation? Yes, there is a formula. If you're a tech company, you can sell what they call on future revenue, not just on today's revenue, but you still need an investor that will accept that valuation. You can come up with any crazy number and have a formula to back it up. But if an investor say no, then that's not your valuation. But if an investor says yes, hey, that's your valuation, right? And somebody's investing, they've raised. So if you check this website, getlikedat.com, and I'll put all those links on the comment below if you guys want to check them out. They've raised so far 523.5 million. 523.5 million funding. Sound like Biden when he was talking about trillions and billions. Anyway, so $523.5 million they've raised. So somebody out there truly believe in this company and technology and the potential, regardless of the revenue. And that's the beauty when you're well connected, guys. You can pretty much, you can pretty much afford to get those type of valuation that gives you enough runway to do whatever, test a lot, even do acquisition. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised that they'll be buying some companies, so on and so forth, in the long run. So, and this company, this website, Corner Equity, very interesting website, gives you also a lot of detail on companies, startup. So the estimated annual revenue is around 12.4 mil. So they give you more detail on their growth and all those things and employees. And of course, if you subscribe, you'll get even more detail. But I never say, again, those are private companies. So those information, whoever get those information, it's never really 100% correct. But ballpark, even if they do 20 million at the 2 billion valuation, that is amazing. That is giving them a lot of runway. But that was not the major reason why I did this vlog, right? And before I end with why I'm doing this vlog, is two things. They just did a Series D for 50 mil recently. And again, they got some major people behind them. They're based in Silicon Valley. Always called the usual suspect. You gotta tick the box of the usual suspect. Silicon Valley, Ivy League school, great. And some of the article talks about, are they raising too much too early, so on and so forth. But that's not the topic of this conversation. Even though I truly believe they're way overvalued. That's just my personal opinion, of course. But when I was doing research on that company, I was reading if Aurora was a public company. And Aurora is not, but it's listed in different stock exchange that I never heard of. So when I say public, well, they're publicly traded in the U.S. And no, TSX exchange is a Canadian one. Frankfurt, exchange. But then OTC was a new one to me. I was like, what is OTC? Never heard of OTC before. I was like, man, that is very interesting. So that's why my research started, guys. And this stock exchange is very interesting. That nobody talks to you about. Nobody. For those, well, I'll tell a little bit about later on. So basically, what is OTC? It's over-the-counter stocks, right? That's how they call it. So basically, so it's over-the-counter, and it's traded through a stockbroker dealers network. And they say it's a decentralized market. It's simply a market structure consisting of various technical devices. The structure allows investors to create a marketplace without a central location. Interesting. Talking about decentralization. So OTC, but there's a lot of layer within the OTC, right? And I want you to pay attention. Now, it's only valid, OTC, it's a U.S. Stock exchange market, right? It's only valid in the U.S. And you can trade, you can sell You can sell just like a traditional, those big stock exchange, the New York Stock Exchange, the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. This is a lower level of the stock exchange, right? It doesn't have the same longer process. The fees are much cheaper. I think it's around $5,000 compared to $100,000 if you do with the New York Stock Exchange. You have to pay so on and so forth, and you have to be less than $1, if I'm not mistaken. And there's different layer. I'm not an expert. I'm just giving you the overview from what I've learned. Um, and it says here, right? For example, NYC has a schedule fee charge in exchange services. Administrative fees can go up to $250,000 a year. Their listing fee can go up to 150. That's the New York Stock Exchange. And OTC is much cheaper. It's for much smaller companies to find a way to raise capital. Um, the regulatory process is different. We'll talk a little bit about it. Of course, there's more risk as an investor. But those are the different tiers of OTC. The best tier of OTC is OTC QC and QB. If you're part of that exchange, that's the best tier. That's basically quality companies, and it tells you it's the highest tier. In order to be eligible, the firm must be current on all regulatory disclosure, maintain audited financial, and cannot be a penny stock. We'll talk a little bit about that. And for those who don't know penny stock, you need to watch this movie, The Wolf of Wall Street. There's a section where he used to work at penny stock before he got very interesting. And I'll put maybe a small video on that, but I'll put the link. The movie calls The Wolf of Wall Street. Great movie, man. I loved it. OTCQB is also a nice tier, right? Company must have a minimum bid price of 0.01 per shares. And this is very interesting. And I think you can go up from there. But I think there's also a cap. Same thing. It's very similar to OTCQC. No bankruptcy. This is the penny stock. This is another tier, right? So those are the more low-end stocks, right? They call it the pink sheets. They also call penny stocks. And those are very, smaller companies, no minimum financial standard. So you can see the standard drop from there, and as the risk increase. And then the gray market. Now, I didn't fully understand what the gray market is. It's the in-between. It says it could be the company that's just getting started on OTC or just falling out of OTC. And they are gray market. But those are the tiers. Those are the main tiers, guys. And don't worry, I put all the link. It's on Schwab. And pretty much all the brokers, the big banks brokers, can help companies get on the OTC. And I'm doing more research on that, but you can call any of those brokerage accounts if you want to open an account and ask them information about getting into those OTC. So Schwab is one of them, and there's quite a few of them, right? But how do you get listed? How do you get in those to be traded as an OTC? Because I was very curious. I was like, man, that could be very interesting. That's how I came up with a fee, how much it cost, and there's different ways, right? It depends where you want to be listed. That's another blog for colonialstocks.com. And some of the requirements to get listed on OTC, but that's different on the OTC QX tier or QB tier. A company need to have at least $2 million total asset. The most recent quarterly statement for the QC one And the standard goes down depending if you do the penny stock, the pink as they call it. $2 million in revenue, 1 million tangible asset, 500 in net income, or $5 million market value for the OTCQC. A company also have to meet a minimum bid price of 0.10 per share during the preceding 30 days. It takes about 6 to 12 months to get listed. You can go from OTC to the big stock exchange, and you can get delisted from the New York Stock Exchange to the OTC one also. Very interesting. So there's a vehicle, and it's amazing, man. Nobody taught. We not taught any of this stuff, man. It's amazing. Nobody tell you anything. This and this is one. Number two, because we're a U.S. entity, so I like to talk about those vehicles. But number two, in Africa, it's even worse. There's no vehicle like this. Traditional stock exchange are not fit for startup. It's not dynamic enough for you to raise enough money unless you're a big company, and you can tap into your customer base, so on and so forth. There is no vehicle for start, and I've been saying this for years, man. Without those publicly traded vehicle for startup to go into public, to go to the public to raise capital, without that type of vehicle, we're limiting ourselves dramatic. And you see so many people investing in publicly traded companies from outside the continent because there's no proper vehicle here for startup to go public. And that's so sad, guys. That's so sad, but that's a different topic. Let's stick to OTC. And there's an application, right? So you have, as I said, first step, you have to contact one of those brokers, open an account with them, go through the process, the requirement. You have to, and also another big thing, which is very important. I think it's here. Yeah, the regulation, the FCC and the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, what's oversee the OTC process. So you have to go through all that requirements. And here it lists all the requirements from 211. You're going to have to get a security lawyer. This is a very interesting vlog that talks about OTC, the pink stock. That's the low end stock. And it tells you pretty much what are the requirements here. And I'm sure there's ways for you to get there, right? And none of those stuff are easy, but it's doable. I truly believe that. Because if you get somebody really willing to help, or you have a law firm that really knows those stuff, that believe in your tech, because again, startup use those process for a reason. It was designed for a reason, for low-end startups to also get some funding from the public. If you unable to raise from VCs and all those things. And it tells you, the different disclosure you have to sign up with. For example, all stock purchase, so some copy Form D file with the SEC. I mean, you're definitely not going to be doing this by yourself. You need to find somebody who can help you. But the OTC Pink Sheet, OTC in general, provide private companies seeking to go public a less cumbersome method of obtaining public company status. That's filing a registration statement with the SEC. Qualifying for OTC Market Pink Current Information Tier is a straightforward and relatively inexpensive way for a small company to go public and to enjoy the benefit that status provide. Going public is amazing, guys. People don't understand. It's not just the fact that you are a public company and you can claim, hey, I went public, so on and so forth. But your securities have value. Your stocks, your shares have value now. You can go to a bank and get a loan from your share. You can't do that as a private liability if you're not public. You pass all those rules. Now you have banks. They're becoming true asset. Your shares are asset now. It's massive benefits. You can sell your own shares now to get capital out for your personal use, to get loan also on your personal use. Your, what's this dude's name? From the you hear, I forgot his name now. Elon Musk. He does it all the time. He sells share, personal share to do deals, to do this. You can't do that if you're not public. And OTC has the same value as a traditional. It's just the regulation is lower, but the value is the same. You just have the same power, I can say, as a New York Stock Exchange, as far as not as far as value, but as far as you are seen just as a public company, just like any other public company. You're just doing a different type of exchange. Your risk is much higher. So maybe your interest rate on the loan might be higher, so on and so forth. But still, you're a public traded company. And that's amazing. And last thing I want to say, do your research. I hope this content really helped. If you want to see more, learn more, please let me know. It's estimated from this vlog from the Manhattan Street Capital that it takes around $300,000 for you to go public on an OTC market. I didn't even talk about Regulation A+, which is also part of the same family, if I could call it, which is also a vehicle to go public. But now to execute this, you need to be connected. You need to know who's good at this game, what broker to talk to, in what space that is familiar with your sector, so on and so forth. So I know it's a lot of work, but at least it's a very interesting path to going public. If you want to exit your company, there's only two ways: going public or selling your company. It's just that simple. And finding, going public, it's a very interesting vehicle also. All right, guys, put your comment below. Let me know what you think. I love to hear more from you guys. Check out that movie. And if you want to hear more, like I said, put on the comment, man. I would like to get even deeper on that if you really like this vlog. Take care.